One.
I know I didn't have quite enough time to finish that last video, so I wanted to pick up where I left off and just talk real quickly about soul powers. So give me a second while I do some erasing here. So, soul powers. Okay, what does that mean? Soul powers means if I have the soul power to do something, it means that only I have that power. So we have the Senate and we have the House of Representatives. They both contribute to making laws, but each of these houses has some special powers that the other does not have. So the Senate has some powers that the House of Representatives does not have, and the House of Representatives has some powers that the Senate does not have. And I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm going to talk about a few, though, and there's a couple that you are going to need to know. The big one that you need to know, especially for this Constitution test, is that the House of Representatives, only the House of Representatives, and that's why you call it a sole power. The House of Representatives has the sole power, the only power to start bills having to do with money. Okay, so if there is a bill that has to do maybe with taxes or how we're going to spend money on the military and things like that, that bill, and that's what a law is called before it's passed. It's called a bill. So a bill will start in if it has to do with money, it's got to start in the House of Representatives. Okay, they'll start it, they'll debate it, and they'll pass it if they decide to do so, and then that bill goes over to the Senate. So the Senate will talk about that bill as well, but if it has to do with money, then it has to start in the House of Representatives. Okay. Also, another thing that the House of Representatives can do is bring up charges, bring up impeachment charges. Okay? And they do vote on it. What does it mean to be impeached? So if you are a public official, so let's say a president of the United States, okay, and this has happened before, where a president of the United States is, let's say, some people in the House of Representatives believe that the president is doing something illegal. Okay, what they'll do is a few of the people from the House of Representatives will bring up those charges, almost like they're accusing. Though it's like an official accusation. They're saying we believe that whoever it is, maybe it's the president of the United States, we believe the president of the United States has broken the law, and we want to bring up impeachment charges, and then they'll vote on it. Okay, if they pass that, if it passes, if over 50% of the people in the House of Representatives agree with that charge, and they vote on it and they pass that they are saying that at that point the president or whoever the person might be is impeached. Okay, it just means that official charges have been put on that official. Okay, only the House of Representatives can do that. Okay, the Senate cannot bring up charges, but after the charges are brought, only the Senate can have the impeachment trial. Okay, so they have the trial and they decide on guilt or innocence. I don't know. Am I spelling that right? I don't know. I can't spell innocence right now. But you get the picture. So the charges are brought up in the House of Representatives. They have that sole power. And then the Senate has the sole power to actually have the trial to decide if that person that's being charged is guilty or innocent. Okay. Another thing that the Senate has the power to do is to gosh, I'm having a brain fart here, guys. is to if the president wants to choose certain people maybe to become a judge, because that's one of the things that the president does. Is the president, let's say one of the members of the Supreme Court dies, the president of the United States gets to pick a person to fill that spot to become a Supreme Court judge. And so the Senate will have hearings to decide on presidential appointments. So if the president wants to appoint someone as a new Supreme Court judge, or maybe another federal judge, or if the president says that they want to have a certain person be in charge of the EPA, that's fine. The president can choose that person, but the Senate has to vote on if they agree with that. And they'll have hearings, and then they'll vote on whether or not they agree with the president's decision. So that is a way that the Senate kind of has a little bit of power over the president, right? So the president can't just put any crazy person in charge of our Supreme Court, and that's a good thing. They can pick a crazy person that they would want to be in charge of the Supreme Court, but the Senate gets to decide if it actually happens. Okay, so it's like it's a safeguard against the president making a bad decision on putting certain people in power. Okay, so those are a couple things that that the House of Representatives and the Senate, some of the powers that they have, those sole powers. And I hope that helped. And if you have any questions, please ask in class. And as always, have a great day and keep your studies up. Peace. I'm out of here.